Morning, everybody. So we're going to be expanding on the fact that I think it's a fantastic idea for everybody to get up a little bit earlier than they already are. Before we get going, by the way, check my head out. Like, I don't know if you can see that. Spent about 14 minutes in the garden when the sun was out, and Jesus, it don't take me long, man. I've got baby skin. I think my 6-year-old daughter's got tougher skin than me. So yesterday we spoke about getting up a little bit earlier and why I thought that is a great thing to introduce to your day-to-day operation. I was thinking about it actually. As a very, very starting point, why don't you just get up maybe 10 minutes earlier than you currently are to watch these videos? And that might get the ball rolling. You might be able to shave, 10 minutes off a day until you're where you need to be, or 10 minutes off a week until you feel as though you've got a good amount of time. Because you do need a chunk of time, I think, to practice and carry out the tasks which I'm a real firm believer will make your day and your life and your mindset a much healthier and happier place. So the two things that I mentioned I didn't want to try and cram into yesterday's video were the what are you actually doing when you wake up in the morning, and the how am I actually getting out of bed earlier in the morning. And that is, by and large, certainly the how part, which is what we're going to spend a little bit of time this morning talking about, is by and large down to the individual. And everybody will have their own technique. Some people, jump out of bed and dive straight into a cold shower. Other people, need a double espresso before they open their eyes. And the list goes on and on and on. I wanna touch on 3 things which have made a really big difference to me, and you may or may not be able to bring these into your daily routine. But they when maybe you read something or you hear something and it just sticks in your mind. It's one of those things that seems to resonate with you, and it may be the case that these things just resonate with me, but I think they're worth talking about. Because they may help in the quest to rise a little bit earlier. So the first thing is preparation. And effectively what this is all about is making that earlier start as painless as possible once you are out of bed, okay? And what I do is I set up the night before my coffee. I'm not ashamed to admit that I have my coffee out of the cupboard. I have the mug, I have the spoon in the mug, and I have the kettle with enough water in it to be able to just hit on. Now that might sound trivial, but for whatever reason, it seems to help a little bit. I always know, even though I don't really, have a uniform or anything to wear, I normally wear just a t-shirt and a pair of jeans or some chinos, but I always have the t-shirt and the chinos and the trainers that I'm going to be wearing the next day out on a hanger, ready to go, okay? I have my laptop, my to-do list, which we're going to talk about tomorrow, so that's the what are we doing in the morning, out on the dining table, and it's ready to go. There's a coffee mat ready for the coffee, and effectively means I can just kind of walk downstairs, press the kettle on, go to the toilet, get me coffee, sit down, put me coffee on a mat, and I feel prepared, I feel ready. Now, I really, really encourage you to do the same if you're going to try and get up a little bit earlier in the morning. Put a little bit of time in, preparing the night before, and you'll find that it's one less thing to worry about the following day. The second 2 things I'm going to talk about are mindset tricks that have really as I said, stuck with me and really helped me jump out of bed. And the first one is this. In a book I read a while back called Get Up, it wasn't actually about getting up in the morning, that just happened to be the name of the book, but it was called Get Up. Again, brilliant read. Similar kind of tone to A Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck that we mentioned about earlier on in these episodes. There was just simply a sentence, and it said, your energy is a gift. And what it means by that, and this is really, really apparent during these times, is that don't take your energy for granted. It's not a God-given right to have the energy to do stuff. It's a gift. And there are people that are currently lying in hospital beds that would give anything to just have that energy. So sometimes when you're lying there in bed and you can't really be asked to get out of bed and you're thinking, I'll just snooze it for another 10 minutes, just say that to yourself and remind yourself that your energy is a gift. And for whatever reason, that kind of it's just helped me, you know, put my thoughts into actions and get out of bed. Because, you know, essentially that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about getting out of bed. And it can be much, much more difficult than people give it credit for. So that's the first thing, to maybe just try and try it on for size, see if it works for you. Just remember that your energy is a gift and not a right, okay? And the second thing, which I love, all my staff know that I love this, I bore anybody that wants to listen to me with this little nugget of wisdom. And it's from a fellow who I follow on Instagram. His name's Jocko Willink. He's a Navy SEAL, ex-Navy SEAL, hard as nails. He's a brash American. And there's a lot of what he talks about, to be honest, it doesn't really resonate with me whatsoever. But one of his favourite things is you've got to stop negotiating with your inner bitch, okay? And what that is, that's when you're lying there with your head on your pillow and you start to negotiate with yourself in your head. As soon as you start to negotiate with yourself, remind yourself you're negotiating with your inner bitch, and actually, you'd be surprised, again, for me, it spurs me on to think, you know, I've got to stop doing that, you know? As soon as you're umming and ahhing whether to go to the gym, you're negotiating with your inner bitch. As soon as you're putting stuff off and making excuses in your head, you're negotiating with your inner bitch. Stop negotiating with your inner bitch. Remember that your energy is a gift, and get the morning set out and prepared before it starts. And I think you'll probably find that it's a little bit easier to swallow that early alarm clock. We'll catch up tomorrow.